All right, guys, you got this. Let's go. Gun right, triple E. Close, let's go. On one, on one.
Ready?
Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Pick'em with HuddleGG, and welcome back to another episode of Ask Huddle. If you guys are new to this series, it's something that we do each week where we take a few of your guys' questions from the community and we answer them for you here in video form. So if you guys have anything Madden related that you guys want answered, wherever you're watching this, leave that in the comment section below for a chance to be featured in one of those future videos. And if you don't see it in one of those future videos, you can always join our free Discord by going to huddle.gg/discord, and we can answer that question in there as well. So again, with that being said, let's dive into this week's episode. And our first question today comes from Money King Gaming, and they ask, how do you make individual adjustments on defense? So the first thing is, and the easiest way to learn this is if you go into practice mode and you see at the bottom left where it says pre-play, click the right stick in. So if we click the right stick in, we're going to have this menu pop up, which is going to give us all the options of what we can do with our defense pre-snap, right? So individual adjustment is going to be the A button first. This would be X on PlayStation. But if we push that, you're going to see that the player that we're specifically on right now, we have these options for, right? If we would go and we'd be on this linebacker here, his adjustments are going to change. Now you can actually get to specific players on the field without hovering over them with your cursor as well. You don't have to click onto the player to get their individual adjustments. Now the way that we want to attack that is we are going to, let's say we want linebackers. You can see there at the bottom left, linebackers is going to be right on the D-pad. So if we do right on the D-pad, and then if you see at the bottom left, it says quick adjust. If we do right on the D-pad again, it's going to pop up our linebackers on this play. So this particular formation, we only have two linebackers. We have the X and we have the A. From there, you can pick the A or the X, whichever one you want, and you can see that we now have these adjustments. You can do this with your secondary and your defensive line as well. So if you see secondary, it's going to be the Y button. So again, PlayStation should be triangle, but on Xbox, we're going to do Y. We're going to do Y again for quick adjust, and you can pick an individual player, right? So let's say that we want that outside corner to the right, so he's going to be the B icon. So we'll pick B for him, and now you can see the adjustments that we can put that specific player on. This is very, very helpful because it's going to allow you to adjust your defense. Once you get this down, you do want to practice this if you've never done it before, but when you do understand how to do this, it's going to be much quicker to set up and adjust your defense without having to click onto each of these players individually. Right now, there is some times where that may be a little bit quicker if you just need to change one person real quick, but when you're trying to adjust your entire defense to stop what your opponent is doing, you're going to want to be able to do that in the quickest and the most efficient way possible. And understanding these pre-snap adjustments on the defensive side of the ball is going to be the very best way to do that. Our next question today comes from Blown Thug 0939, and they ask, what's the best way to beat cover 3? I do want to preface this by saying there are different types of cover 3 that you will see in game. You got your cover 3 sky looks, your cover 3 cloud, your cover 3 buzz, and then your cover 3 matching style defenses. Today in this video, we're going to be primarily focusing on the cover 3 sky defenses. We have talked about cover 3 match in the past in this series, so you can go check that out. And what we're going to be talking about using to attack this style of defense is going to be a flood concept. And if you watched this series last week, we actually talked about, maybe 2 weeks ago, we talked about how to defend flood concepts. Now today we're going to be talking about how we can use flood concepts on the offensive side of the ball to our advantage. So what we're going to have with a flood concept is we are going to have 3 players flooding one side of the field, right? So if you look to the right side of the screen here, you're going to see that we're going to have a streak or a clear out from the outside. We're going to have our inside guy or our slot there on the corner. You can also use a deep out, and we'll get into when that could be more beneficial. And then we're going to have our running back or a third receiver to the flat. So you can see we have 3 different players attacking at 3 different areas, all to the right side of the field. Okay, this is, again, called a flood concept, and it's going to flood that side of the field for the defense and make it really hard to defend out of cover 3 look. I do want to say on the backside, I like to put a 5-yard in route to one of these receivers, just to give us a check down if our opponent does a really good job at covering the flood concept. Now, what I want you to see is to the right side of the screen, what we want to do is we want to read this low to high, okay? So our first read is going to be the running back to the flat. We want to keep eyes on this defender that's over our corner route. If he puts hands on the receiver, okay, so he tries to zone chuck him or jam him, we're going to throw to the running back every time. Also, if we see this guy just back up immediately, we can also throw it to the running back. So if you see your opponents running 20 to 25 yard zone drops, we're just going to throw this to the running back time and time again. right? So what it's going to look like here is, again, when we say hike, if we see him get hands on that guy, we're just going to check it down to the running back, turn it up the field, and get ourselves an easy 8 to 10 yards every single time. Again, when we're running this, we're going to try to focus on this defender over our slot receiver. If he gets hands on our receiver, that tells us he's not playing hard to the flat. So we can just throw this, get ourselves that easy completion, and turn it upfield for some simple yardage, right? One more time, if we set this up, you can see here to the right side of the screen, again, the second that we see him get hands on him, we're just going to check that down to the running back, and we're going to get ourselves those easy yards. Now, if they do not adjust, we can take that every single time, right? Do not overthink it. If they keep playing the same way, just take the easy yards. 8 to 10 yards every single time is going to get you a touchdown eventually. Now, one thing that they will start to do is they will start to adjust by shading down and playing hard flats, okay? Now, when they play hard flats, we're going to look to our intermediate route on the field, which is going to be that A on the corner. Now, I will say if you're an ultimate team, it may actually help you to put a deep out, and I'll show you what I mean. We're going to run the corner first, but with all the zone KOs that are on the field, sometimes that outside corner can actually play the fade and then also the tight end on the corner. So it does take a little bit of user skill to catch this if you're running the corner route. I'll show you what I mean here. If we say hike, we're just going to wait for him to get over there. We're going to throw that down, and you want to come back and catch that away from that corner. So you can see there, again, we can't just throw it and catch it every single time with all of the zone KOs out here. But first things first, we see this guy. He is not getting hands on that receiver. He's playing quickly to the flat. So he's taking away our running back, right? So that opens up our tight end here as our intermediate route. With zone KOs, they react very quickly. And again, if they make contact with you shortly after you catch it, they will knock the ball out. So what you want to do is, again, when you throw this, if you are running the corner, you want to come back to the ball. You don't want to catch it going vertically down the field. Okay, when you catch it coming back to it, you're going to be able to get yourself that easy completion and avoid that KO there from that outside corner. I do want to say you can use a deep out route as well. Okay, so if you don't want the corner, you can put that guy on an out. And I would recommend custom stemming him up 1, 2, 3 times on the D-pad. Okay, so we're going to get him to about 20 yards depth on this route. And that's going to give us a good spacing over there to the right side of the screen. So if they are trying to, again, cover that running back to the flat, they can't cover him and also cover that tight end. So what this will look like here, if we say hike, you're going to see that we're going to be able to throw that there, and it's a little bit easier to stay away from that outside corner. Now, you still have to be careful not to run into him, right? You still want to probably possession catch this, but you can see on an out route, he's going to cut more flat, right, rather than cutting up vertically. So this is going to give us a little bit better spacing to avoid that outside corner and get ourselves that easy completion there. Now, I do want to say that you do have the option to look to your last read over there to the right side of the screen as well on that fade route, right? Now, when you're going to be able to hit that fade route is when your opponent gets really aggressive with their switch stick. Okay, so what you'll see people do is once you've attacked them with the running back, again, they're going to then shade down to try to take away the hard flat, and then we're going to start to hit them with that corner route or that deep out route to the tight end. If a good player sees that, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to switch stick to that. They'll try to either go to the flat guy or even at times that outside corner, and they're going to try to bait you and come down and pick off that corner or that deep out. If you notice them doing that and you're patient and just wait a split second longer, you're going to have the B wide open. So I'll show you what I mean here. So if we say hike, again, on defense, you're going to see if they see that corner, they'll switch stick there and come down, and then that will at times open up this streak over the top. Again, this isn't going to be something that you're going to be able to hit if your opponent is not aggressive with their switch stick. But if they are aggressive with their switch stick, again, the second that a good player sees this route break to the outside and they know that you've thrown this time and time again, they're going to try to bait you and switch stick to this outside corner and take that away, right? That is good if you are not patient. For the defense, it's really good if you're not patient because they're going to be able to pick it off. But if you're patient as an offensive player, you can wait for them to switch stick, and then that's going to leave this guy wide open over the top because they obviously have no other deep zone out there. They took their one deep zone out of the play to try to take away that corner route. So you can see there, obviously we have the short, we have the intermediate, and then we have the possibility for that deep route as well. And this does a really good job against your cover 3 sky style defenses. Our next question today comes from KingY2032, and they ask, how do you beat cover 4 match out of dime 3-2? So we did talk about a couple of weeks ago here in this series of a way that we could bomb cover 4 quarters over the top for one play touchdown. But today we're going to talk about an easy way that we can attack underneath, and it may look silly when you see it, but I'll show you why it's going to be super effective time and time again. And we're attacking a specific area of the field. So when they're running cover 4 quarters out of dime 3-2, they are going to be running it like this. And if they're running match, they obviously don't have their zone drops on, but they're going to be blitzing this guy, whether they're looping him. A lot of people will do that, bring this guy down here, something like this. Now, what I want you to see is there is one player in the middle of the field from the numbers to the numbers, and that's going to be their user. All we want to do is attack to both sides of the field in between the numbers and the hash marks. Okay, so a really easy way to do this is just to put the 2 slot guys, and again, I will say doing it from a spread out set is a lot easier than doing it from a compressed set. But if we put the 2 slot receivers on flat routes and the 2 outside guys on in routes, this very basic concept is going to be all but impossible for them to defend out of this particular defense, because the user cannot take away the B and the X. They're too far apart, and the quarter flats there are going to take the flat routes, right? So when we say hike, you're going to see that we just have either of these guys, again, right in between the hash marks and the numbers is going to be the sweet spot of where you're trying to attack. So if we go and we run this or look at this again, the flat is going to take the quarter flat out of the picture, right? We're just going to throw this underneath. These guys are not going to follow a short little in route unless they press, which they're not going to press in dime 3-2, okay? Because they're going to be in baseline, they're going to be the double safety walk down. They will not press that outside corner. So all you have to do is this, and neither of these guys, the corner or the safety, is going to follow this in route. Now, if you say the user could go cover that, they could, but that's why we're doing the exact same thing to the other side. The user cannot cover both of these routes, right? You can see how far apart they are spaced and how wide open they are. Now, that's a basic combination we could do with just simple hot routes. Now, another thing you can do is you could just put the outside guys on something like smoke screens, and then we could put our inside guys on something like these hooks, okay? So if you put them on like hitches or hooks or anything like this, we're attacking the same area of the field, right? So if we say hike, we're just going to say hike. We're going to wait to see where that guy goes. That guy got bumped there, but you can see we're still able to complete that. Let's run that one more time. The receiver and the cornerback got bumped on that play, a little bit weird. But if we run this one more time here, what you're going to see is when we go to say hike, we're just going to wait, right? We're going to wait. You cannot cover both of those areas of the field. We're going to try to get those quarter flats to widen out. And you can see on this rep here, again, perfect example. This guy's going to be there, but if we're patient and just wait a split second, you're going to see he starts to widen out. You can see this guy over here will start to widen out. Again, wherever that user picks, if he picks left, we're going to throw to the right. If he picks right, we're going to throw to the left. Again, just another really basic concept of where you can attack with these 5 to 7 yard hitches or curl routes, and then just putting you could do a speed out, you could do a smoke screen to the outside of the field, and we're going to have 2 guys in really tough spots for the user to cover both of them. Okay, now another route that you can look for are spot routes, right? So these are not something that you can hot route to, right? You're going to have one of these in your playbook, but you can utilize these as well. They do a great job. So to the right side of the screen, what you'll see here is that little that route from the B receiver, that little spot route, or that little snag route there. Those do a really good job. But again, what you want to do is you want to couple it with something on the other side. So a quick little drag so we can attack that left in between the numbers and the hash marks as well. So when they say hike, you're going to see, again, wherever they go, we would throw it the other way, right? So again, if the user attacks to the right, we'll throw it to the left. I didn't even throw it on that rep, but if you see here, if we run that one more time, just so to show you where we would throw it. Again, if we say hike and we see that user going that way, easy completion right there. If the user starts to get aggressive going to that side, right? So if we run this one more time here, and you see that the user here, let's just say that he goes to the left, just to simulate what he would do. Again, we say hike, we see him go to the left. Now this spot route's going to sit in a really perfect position there of the defense. So again, it's not an exciting, breathtaking style of offense, but it's very, very effective and it's very, very efficient because you are going to be able to attack them time and time again. This guy cannot cover from numbers to numbers inside of 10 yards, right? So we are just attacking in areas that he cannot get to both sides. You can see if we, again, have this drag here and he doesn't take this, the drag's wide open. If he does take the drag, as he does here, then our spot route on this side is going to be wide open. So again, just finding these routes that'll sit down in between the numbers and the hash, or just doing the simple ones we talked about with either hitches from the slot or just a simple flat and then an in route from the outside receivers are going to be really easy ways to attack this coverage. And you can just do this time and time again down the field. And if they don't adjust, you're going to be able to complete the ball pretty much every single time as long as you're making the right read. And again, if you do want a way to bomb this coverage, you can always check out our game plan over at HuddleGG and the New York Giants. We have tons of ways to bomb this, but also I believe 2 weeks ago in our Ask Huddle series, we also talked about an easy way that we can attack cover 4 quarters over the top for a one-play touchdown. Our next question today comes from No Reason Network, and they ask, how do I stop the jet touch pass? I do want to say there's a variety of different ways you can stop the jet touch pass, and it also depends on what defensive formation that you are in. I'm going to show you how to stop it out of one of the more popular defenses in the game this year, out of the dime 1-4. And again, we're going to be going against the jet touch pass out of the normal Y off close, which is going to be probably the most popular jet touch pass that you're going to see in this game. Now, before we pick our play, we do want to go to auto flip or our coaching adjustments. We want auto flip off, auto alignment set to base. We're going to come out in the play double safety go, and you want to make sure that you have cross 3 fire in your audibles. Now, when we come out in this play, we're going to immediately audible to cross 3 fire. We're going to put both safeties in inside quarters and shade down. And then we're going to be using this right of screen middle linebacker, and we're going to put him on a yellow. Okay, so this is what the defense is going to look like. Again, a very, very popular defense. And we're going to show you how you can user this to defend a jet touch pass. Now, with the jet touch pass, you want to know it's always going to be coming opposite of this running back here. And it's going to be the slot receiver, right? You'll also see the quarterback do a special hand motion. It's not the normal hand motion when he's sending people in motion typically. So if you do want to just notice a difference there, you can really recognize when they're running this versus when they're not running this, and it's just a normal motion. And we're just going to take care of this with our user entirely, okay? Now, what a lot of people do, and if you're watching the MCS, you saw Fancy actually took advantage of it. A lot of people would click to their safety and they would run down here and try to blow it up themselves. The problem with that is there's a fake jet touch pass that you can then throw a streak right behind it, and that's what Fancy did. And he actually got a few easy one-play touchdowns because his opponent was too aggressive. We don't want to do that because we don't want to give our opponent the easy one-play score. What you're going to see here is the right guard is going to be the guy who's trying to block us. We're just going to avoid that block and peel to the outside, and we're going to make the tackle ourselves or put ourselves in a good position to make the tackle. So if they say hike here, you're going to see, we see that guy go in motion. We're going to avoid that block. We're going to get to the outside, and we're going to go make that tackle ourselves. Again, the right guard is the guy who will be targeting us on this specific play if we set it up in this defense. So you can see 75 here. He's going to get up and try to block us. We just avoid him, and you're going to see that these guys do a good job of plugging any cutback lanes for the most part. It's going to be very hard for them to cut back up the field, and we're just going to peel to the outside and make that tackle with our user and get ourselves an easy stop there. So again, one more time, we're going to audible to crossfire 3. We're going to I like to shade down on this again. When they go to say hike here, you're going to see we're just going to avoid this guard. We're going to get to the outside. And again, we're either going to make the tackle or we're going to be in a good position to slow them down and allow one of our other teammates to go in and get that tackle for a loss. Our last question today comes from OMG It's Matt, and this is a question that he's asked a couple of times in a row now. And he asked, how do you recover onside kicks with the new kicking meter? Now, first of all, I want to say the reason why it took me a little bit to answer this question is I have never used this kick meter, so I had to lab this individually and very specifically for this question to make sure that I had a good answer for you to give you the best opportunity to recover an onside kick. Now, another thing with onside kicks that you guys need to know, it is never guaranteed, right? We cannot guarantee that we recover one of these. We are just trying to put our team in the best position to get them, and I have a kick that I think is going to do that the majority of the time for us. Now, what we want to do is we want to come out in strong onside for this kick, and we are going to pick low kick. We're going to move the aiming meter all the way to the right, and then we're going to try to click the meter when it's all the way to the left, and we're going to try to get half power. Okay, so it's going to look just like this. We're going to try to get half power, and it's going to kick it right into that void, and you can see we actually, I don't even think we ended up getting that one, but you can see how we had a lot of people there in position to recover that. Again, you can see this is just a really tough ball for them to get to. You can see it gets to that 10-yard marker, right? We kick it from the 35. We're going to get it to the 45, and you can see we have 3 people there. And as it is with onside kicks in this game, the majority of the time, your guys are just going to run over the ball, kick it around, and then it's kind of just a free-for-all. Hopefully, our guys recover that ball. But you can see how we put our guys in the perfect position to get this kick here. Again, let's show it one more time. Again, we're going to do low kick. You do have to come out in strong onside for this to work, okay? So when you come out in strong onside, you're going to pick low kick, move it all the way to the right, and then we're going to try to stop the meter when it's all the way to the left and get half power. And you're going to see here that that gives us, and that's how I didn't get it all the way to the corner, so you can see why it didn't give us the kick we wanted. But if we run this one more time, just so I can show you, when it gets to that corner, again, that's a good one. A little too hard there, but you can see we still put our guys in position, and we actually are able to recover that one. So I do believe this is going to be one of, if not the best ways for you to recover an onside kick with the new kick meter. If you're in regs and you have to use this, hopefully this answers your question. And again, thank you for being patient with us, as I did lab a very good and consistent way for us to try to get these onside kicks here. And if you guys are looking to get better at Madden 25, make sure to join our free Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord. Have a great day.